Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to our Etched Valentine candy jar glass thing. Jamie here. Thank you all for being okay with our reschedule, and you all just seemed happy to get your projects, so that was nice. It's really fun. It's really cute. I sent pictures of a few of the examples. I tried to put something in here so you could really see it, because when it's clear, it's a little bit harder to see sometimes, but they look really cute. They came out really nice. I'm really pleased with them, and I hope you like the way your projects come out too. So I have my setup here. You all received some combination of these designs. If you picked one of the smaller designs, I think I threw something else in there for you in case you wanted to throw something else onto the other side of your jar. There's also everyone has like a large heart. And the reason that I left, that I didn't peel this off like I did on your main designs, is because I kind of wanted to give you the option of what you wanted to do with it. So you can either peel off the outside of it and stick it on your jar and make the actual heart shape, that like etched look. Or if you want, you could also do it in reverse and peel off the actual heart and stick that on your jar and kind of like etch around it. So you have this kind of like little heart-shaped window. So I left that in there so you have the option of kind of choosing what you want to do with that, or you could do one of each. And the same with a few of these little hearts that you can decorate with. You can just take a pair of scissors to anything and, you know, cut in between it to separate them out. So it's definitely handy to have a pair of scissors with you right now. I also have this like scrapey tool that I'm going to be using. You don't really need the scrapey tool. If you have a credit card or even like a plastic ruler would work well, something that's just not sharp, but is hard, that you can kind of use to sort of press your design into the transfer tape and then onto the jar when we get to that. You can use your fingers too. I find just having something else just really sticks it down a little bit better. So you might want to grab yourself a little something there. I have my little weeding tool here, which I'm probably not really going to need, maybe for these little hearts. If you need a little hand with this, if you know you can't really grab it with your fingers, you can also just grab a tweezer or something like that. You don't, again, necessarily need this little tool, but I have it, so I'll use it. Also in your kits, you got a pair of gloves, your jar, obviously. You got some transfer tape, which is for your main design, some cotton balls, and your alcohol, and those little black top containers are full of the etching cream, and the alcohol is in the glass container. I also have with me over here, after the etching cream is rubbed in and is all set. Oh, I'm sorry, and you also got your paintbrush. After the etching cream is all set, you are going to need to rinse it off in the sink. I just have a big old like bin of water up here with me so that I don't have to go down a floor and leave you guys alone while I rinse my jar off. So I'm going to be doing that in my bin here. So that's our setup. Those are all of our supplies and things. So if you need to take a second and grab a little tool for yourself of some kind, you can go ahead and do that. And in the meantime, the first thing that we're going to be doing is just kind of taking a look at what materials we have and sort of deciding on what kind of a layout we want. So some of you have this like candy cookie and love design that kind of goes around the whole jar. I gave it to you in separate pieces because when I had done my original one, I did it all in one big piece. And I mean, it came out okay, but you can actually see this was where the start of it was and where the end of it was. And they don't really, if you look closely, they don't really line up. This side kind of went up a lot higher by the time I tried to wrap it around the whole jar. So that didn't that didn't work as smoothly as I wanted it to. It made it a little bit tricky all in one giant piece. So I gave you separate smaller pieces so that you could just place those on, and it's a little bit easier to work with the small pieces. So yeah, so take a look at what you have and decide kind of how you want it to go on your jar, and be careful with the lids. You might want to actually just pop the lid off while you're looking at your jar. And yeah, I have a few different things here. I think I'm going to go with this Valentine candy design. I like this one. So kind of just come up with an idea of where you want things to go. Make note of the little seams in the jar if that's something that's going to bug you. I know that's something that bugs me, but also if you don't really care about it, then good for you. And just kind of take a look at where things land, where they line up, about where you might want to position it before we start peeling and sticking things, because you kind of only have one shot when it comes to the peel and stick. So take a look. I think on the reverse side, I might go for this kind of window look. I think I might put the actual big heart on the back and make it like a little candy window. And these little hearts are fun. You can also use them for the sides, or you can use them to decorate the top of your jar. One of my examples here have little hearts on the top. So take a minute, play around with your design, and kind of figure out where you want things to sit. And once you've done that, you can, I would take a look at the designs too, and just make sure that if you're putting something kind of close to something else or next to something else, that these stickers aren't going to overlap on top of each other, because depending on how far they overlap, that might cause an issue when you go to put your etching cream. You might accidentally be blocking something that needs to be etched. So if you need to kind of just trim anything down a little bit, you can go right ahead and do that with the scissors. And yeah. So once you have it decided where you want your little parts and pieces to go, you're going to go ahead and use your cotton balls and your alcohol to wipe down your jar, and also your lid if you plan on etching anything onto your lid. Just make sure you're giving yourself a nice clean surface. And we're going to set that to the side, and it'll have the chance to dry up nicely while we get our stickers ready. Do I have any questions so far from anybody? Everybody good? You're also silent. I wish I had some background music. I'm sorry, I don't. I should have thought of that. I'm just giving my jar a nice little clean wipe all the way around. And I'll do my lid too. Yeah, that should do it. All right, well, that's set aside and that's drying. The first thing you're going to want to work with is your main design. So the design that you picked, you're going to take that, put it down in front of you, and you're going to take the piece of your transfer tape. I think I actually cut my transfer tape a little bit big. You might have to trim your transfer tape down a little bit, again, to make things fit comfortably, so nothing's overlapping each other, because your transfer tape does hang over, you know, the edge of your design here by a little bit. So I'm just going to trim my transfer tape up. Has these nice little convenient lines, so you can kind of cut straight, and it also helps you line things up on the actual medium that you're transferring things to. So that's nice. These transfer lines will still be on there when you peel this transfer tape away. It's not underneath, it's actually on the clear tape. So it's really nice. It just helps you keep things straight and lined up. All right. So my transfer tape is cut down. So what you're going to do, this can sometimes be a little bit tricky. You might want to grab a tweezer or something if you can. My nails have, I think it's the dry weather, they're kind of peeling and cracking right now. So I don't have as much nail as I'm used to having, but you want to kind of lift a little corner of this to separate it so that you can peel it away. Here we go. And you're going to peel off and keep your clear sticky side of the tape and discard this white backing. So discard the white backing. You're going to take your transfer tape and you're going to lay it right on top of your design. And again, it's helpful to have these lines in here because you can really line it up and make sure it's straight. Just be really careful and try not to push the transfer tape down until you have it in really the right spot. Otherwise it will stick, and that's kind of that. So now it's on there flat. And again, you can do this with your fingers. I think it's a little bit easier to use a little bit of a tool, whether it's, you know, a plastic ruler or a credit card or something like that. It really just sticks it down a little bit better. And I'm going to really press this over my entire design here to make sure I don't leave behind any of these little parts and pieces, right? We're gonna have to peel this away really carefully because all of these little bits inside of things that aren't attached to the main black outside, all of these other little black bits, you wanna make sure that those are staying stuck to your transfer tape. So give it a really good rub. How's everyone doing so far? So good? Take your silence as a yes. And now we're not going to need any transfer tape when it comes to the hearts, because we can just kind of stick those right on. The transfer tape is so that all of these little parts and pieces just stay in the exact spot they're supposed to. Otherwise, you would have to peel off everything individually and manually stick it, and you know, it doesn't look as neat sometimes when you do that. All right, I'm going to call that good on mine. And I'm going to peel up the side of my transfer tape. And my whole sticker, you want to keep your whole sticker on this right now, because we're going to flip it over. And now from the back, you're going to very carefully remove the white backing of your sticker. And this is going to expose the sticky side of the black. And that's what we're going to stick onto the jar as our stencil. You want to, I would say the best technique for this is to kind of give it a little bit of a roll, because sometimes even if you rub it really well, you know, these little pieces don't necessarily stick to the transfer tape. Sometimes you have to kind of just be careful around the corners and the edges and go really slow. So try your best not to touch the black part. If you do, that's okay, but try your best not to. And just take your white backing and sort of bend it back so that you're slowly rolling it away. If you kind of just try to go in and just like peel it like straight off, there's a higher chance of some of the things that are supposed to stick coming up on the white backing. So rolling tends to work really nicely. Yep. And you can see that was starting to stick a little bit there. So just go slow and make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. that your white backing is coming up clean. My white backing is sticking to my transfer tape. Okay. So mine came up clean. We're all good. I can dispose of this white backing. And now be careful not to stick the sticker down to anything, but I have my nice sticker ready to go onto my jar. So my jar should be good. The alcohol should be dry. And I am going to take my jar and I am going to begin by sticking my sticker on with the transfer tape. So we're going to be taking this, we're going to stick it onto the jar. We're going to be rubbing it again because then we're going to peel the transfer tape off and our sticker will all be perfectly stuck to our jar by then and ready for us to start etching. So I'm going to look at where my seams are on my jar, make sure I'm lining this up where I want it to go. And sometimes it's helpful even to kind of put the jar down on the side and sort of go from one side to the other, or just kind of play around with the feel a little bit until you feel comfortable and ready to put that sticker on. Let's see, I want this to, and you're going to want to do your best. I sized most of them so that they shouldn't hit this rounded edge here. If your sticker is stuck to this rounded edge, you might have a little bit of an issue getting it to lay flat and neat for the etching cream. So just try to keep it really on the flat part of the jar. Sideways. I think I've gone slightly crooked. Whoop, I have, but you know what? That's okay. It's handmade. It's a little imperfect. But the goal is to try not to have too many bubbles under here. Otherwise, it can be a little bit difficult to remove. Not impossible, but difficult. And I'm just going to rub. Especially around the corners and the edges and these little bits that are in there. That's really good. Nice and stuck to my jar. Okay. And I'm just going to leave that as is for a minute. And I'm going to come to the back of my jar. And I am going to actually unpeel. I'm going to do that little heart window. If you have a really large design, you might not have enough etching cream for what it is I'm about to do. If you have a smaller design, you probably will. My plan is to kind of etch out and fog out a good amount of this surrounding space. That way you can kind of just see through the clear heart. So I'm going to block the space that I don't want the etching cream on with my heart sticker. Just on the other side of that.
Jamie?
Yes.
I'm having a hard time getting the white heart off without taking off the hearts. I have the one with the 3 hearts with the word. So it's like not coming off on the paper.
You just have to just maybe put it back down and rub it some more around those edges that seem like they're not coming off. But you could use, if you're having an issue with that, you could also use, like if you have a tweezer or something, and as you're rolling the backing off, try to use like a little, let me try to demonstrate here. Maybe try to use like a little tool of some kind to kind of gently sort of like coax it off on the edge so that it sticks down to your transfer paper, kind of like that. Because yeah, that does happen. That does happen. You just gotta keep finagling with it. And worst case scenario, if something doesn't stick to that transfer tape the way it's supposed to, and it does come off on your white backing, again, you can just take a pair of tweezers and, you know, maybe once the design is transferred to the jar, just manually peel that little piece off and stick it on.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions so far?
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry, I just saw your question in the chat.
It's okay. I'm trying to catch up and I'm trying to keep the paper off.
Oh, no, yeah, no, take your time. The rest of it's pretty. This is honestly the hardest part. The rest of it's like pretty easy. So if you're falling behind a little bit, that's okay. You're not gonna miss it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the etching part is really the easiest part. So so don't worry about falling behind right now. So yeah, you want to really just make sure mostly that the edges of your designs are kind of stuck down, so that the etching cream doesn't really bleed through, so that you get a nice defined design. So once, let's see, I'm going to add some stuff to my lid. I think I'll do a nice fogged out tip of my lid with a solid see-through heart in the middle. Let's see, where's the middle of that? Yeah. And if at any point, you know, if after you put, you know, you still have some leftover hearts, if after you do your etching cream, you want to go back and just add more to it, you can definitely do that too. I would just say, you know, wherever spots you're going to re-etch after we've dunked it in the water and you dry it off, just take the alcohol again, give it a little rub on the spots that you want to add to your design. And you can go back in with some more etching cream and just kind of do the process again. That's not a problem. So I think I'm going to call it quits on that. And again, if you're running a little bit behind on the time right now, don't worry, don't stress, because the next finicky part is now peeling this transfer tape off. And then from here on out, you're just going to rub the cream on, let it sit and rinse it off, and you're kind of done after that. So this is really the most difficult part is setting it all up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to peel this off. And again, you want to move a little bit carefully. You want to try to make sure that everything is sticking down to the jar. You want to try to give it that little roll technique. And if you're having trouble with anything that's really continuing to stick to the transfer tape and isn't staying on the jar, if you have to use a little tool to either help hold that thing down or just take it off the transfer tape with some tweezers and stick it onto the design where it belongs. With these really tiny pieces, it's more difficult. So just keep an eye on them. I'm gonna go ahead and start rolling. Yeah, we're sticking okay so far. So the sticker is a little bit crooked, but I mean, who's really going to notice that much, right? We're just going to want the candy that's inside. So once you have your design, ready to go and you're looking good and you're ready to move on to the etching phase. If you want to cover your work surface, you might want to consider that. Be careful not to get this on your clothes. This is what the gloves are for. There's a bunch of warnings on this. You may want to, we all have masks at the ready now, so you may want to pop that on while you do this, because to be honest, this stuff smells really awful. It smells really, really bad. So just be careful with it. There's some warnings on this label here. Do not ingest, inhale, avoid contact with eyes and skin, use in a well-ventilated area, yada, yada, yada. So without further ado, I'm feeling ready to get to etching, at least for this first part. Maybe I'll go back to my design and add things later, but let's see how this comes out. So I am going to pop the glovies on, and these are not latex, in case anyone is wondering. They're vinyl. I don't think most places carry latex gloves really at all anymore. Everything's vinyl now because there are so many allergies to latex. These are vinyl gloves. They fit me. They're like a little bit tight on me. They're medium. We didn't have larges, so if they're a little tight on you, sorry. I am now going to move some of my other tools aside. I don't really need them right now. And I'm going to take my etching cream, open it up. And you have this tasty stuff going on. That smells nasty. So I have this big old jar here. So with the etching cream, the trick to it is you can layer on a little bit more. Try not to start with too much, because there is a chance, if the edges of your design aren't down really good, that it could kind of bleed out a little bit. So if you want a nice hard edge, just kind of start with a little bit on your brush. And you're going to take it and you're just going to rub it in, and just be careful, because wherever it comes into contact with the jar, it's going to give it that cloudy look. It's going to react with the jar and give it that cloudy look. So just be careful where you're placing it. And you really want to use the brush to kind of rub it in, rub it up and down, and rub it side to side, and maybe with some circular motions too. And just really, really get it in there. Again, you don't have to oversaturate it, but just get it in there and rub it in all sorts of directions. On one of my jars that I practiced on, the etching came out really, really great and smooth, and that's because I actually really took the time, and I really rubbed it in, and it made it all really nice. The other one that I did came out with a little less, there's the spot I was looking at, a little less perfect on some areas. I don't know if you can really tell, but you can see where the etching cream, I didn't really spend the time like rubbing it in kind of in all directions, and it didn't give me that fully clouded look. It kind of gave me a little bit of a patchy look in some spots. So just remember that. So I'm going to grab some more cream, and I'm going to keep going and keep rubbing it in all over. And if you have a big design, this is going to take you a while. If you have a smaller design, it won't take you quite as long. But it's kind of therapeutic. Again, I wish I had some background music on. I like to work to a little bit of music, just kind of zen out and do my little crafty thing. While we're here, if anyone feels like chatting, feel free. How's everyone feeling about the snow coming, right? That's the big topic of conversation. That should be interesting. We'll see. I don't know exactly how much we're going to get, but we're definitely going to get something at this point. So get your eggs, bread, and milk, everyone. What was that?
They're saying, 6 to 12 inches now.
You never really know, though.
You don't
Okay.
know.
Never know till it arrives.
Yep.
Just really rubbing that in. But I hope you're all prepped and ready, and better to be prepared for a disaster and a disaster not happen than to be entirely unprepared. That's the way it works, right? When you prepare yourself for something, nothing happens. When you don't prepare, then you kind of leave yourself up the creek. So, I went last night and made sure I had a full tank of gas in my car.
I did also.
Yeah. Never know. How's everyone doing on their projects? Good. So far, so good. I don't see anything in the chat. So, how's it going, Amanda? Did you get it working for you? Or are you stressing over there?
I finally got it.
Okay.
Took some time.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes a little stubborn, but as long as you don't get stressed over it, because once you start to stress out about something, then all of a sudden it's just not going to happen at all.
Well, I thought I was picking an easy one. Little pieces that didn't want to stay in there.
Yeah, the smaller the pieces, the trickier it is. The bigger designs are a little bit easier, which is funny. Yeah, you'd think probably because like a bigger design, like, oh, there's more to it, but it tends to stick a little bit better. Go figure.
I'll know for next time.
Yeah. But other than having some troubles with the sticker sometimes, this is overall a pretty easy project, and it's nice. It's fun. You can do like cookie jars for the holidays, or put it on any little glass items. I got this etching cream, whatever, off Amazon, and I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was like $30 for this whole bottle, which filled everybody's kits and then some. So you get plenty of it. I think they have a smaller size too. And yeah, it's just a great technique for all sorts of different projects.
Where did you get the jars from?
Amazon. Yeah, I just looked up some jars on Amazon. It had some good reviews. I was like, all right, these look good.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Yeah, so they came in like a pack of 6, I think. And they weren't too bad. I thought they were cute. All right. I think that's looking pretty okay. Let's see. I'm sure you could easily use stuff from the dollar store too. Sometimes has really great glass things. You could do like vases, or like candle holders, or all sorts of things, and anything that's glass. It does say though on this etching cream not to use it on anything pyrex, I think. Armortech will not etch plastic or some pyrex. So, but yeah.
Did you also get the designs on Amazon?
No, it was at Anita. That sounded like Anita.
Let's hope.
Oh, it was Hope, sorry. No, I made the designs. So
Really?
yeah, with our handy dandy Cricut, which is all the way over to my right, it's off camera. But if a bunch of, I've been using it for a bunch of my programs. Brianna has been using it for a bunch of her programs as well. If you do your crafts with Bri, most of the stuff that we use, like stencils or stickers like this for, we use the Cricut to make them.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So I found these designs in the Cricut design space. I just picked some of the ones that I thought might work the best or look the cutest. And I gave you your options. And then when you all got them into me, I went to the Cricut and I set them all up and made sure they were the right size and cut them all out. So it was a lot of work putting the kits together, I'm not gonna lie. But I hope that it's a source for some enjoyment for you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
pleasure. Yeah, it was actually more work than I had. Well, of course, originally this was supposed to be in person. So, you know, I didn't go into this thinking like, oh, I'm going to have to pack all these kits. So, but that's okay.
And you went from 6 to about 16, so.
I did. I actually went from 6 to 26 because I opened it up to a lot more people because there were just so many people on the waiting list. And, you know, since we weren't limited to in-person space, you know, I figured why not, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, it's hard when everyone loves all the crafts and the cooking programs so much, and you know, it's hard when space is limited and we're only supposed to be having certain numbers of people and certain sized rooms and all that. But you know, even though it takes the time to set up these take and make kits, it is kind of nice because you can open it up to a lot more people. Because I know lots of people get so frustrated. They're like, I signed, you know, tried to get into the program. It was like 7:05 on registration day and it was already full.
Yeah, within minutes.
Yeah.
It really was within minutes.
So that happens all the time when there's only, you know, limited space. But, you know, so packing the take and makes was an experience. This is my first take and make, so I wasn't really prepared. But we got to let more of you fine folks in to enjoy the craft, so that's nice. I'm gonna go into my big space here and give this a nice little clouded look. I actually hope this comes out nice. I haven't tried this this way of doing it yet, so we'll see. In my head, it looks nice, but that doesn't always mean anything.
Everything always looks nice until you do it.
You're right. Anybody watching anything good lately? Or reading anything good lately? What's on your lists? I could always use some suggestions.
And right now, the boys, the Ron Howard and Cliff Howard, very good. I'm like halfway through it.
What's that on?
No, it's a book.
Oh, it's a book. It's a book. Ah,
Ron
okay.
Howard, Opie from
Gotcha.
Andy Griffith Show. It's very good. The book.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, that's nice. I just recently finished reading one of like there was one of those Reese Witherspoon pick books, which was the Henna Artist, and I read that a little while ago, and she has like a sequel to it called The Secret Keeper of Jaipur. Alka Joshi, I don't know how to say her name, is the author, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was nice, just like a nice little story. All right, we'll see how this turns out. Anyone else have any good suggestions? What are you all into?
If you like a thriller book, I just finished The One. It was very good.
Do you know who the author of that one is?
Hold on, I can look. 'Cause I don't know it off the top of my head.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sure if I look it up, I Google the one thriller, it'll probably come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes a good thriller really just hits the spot.
It's
like-
John. It's by John Mars.
John Morris. Okay, should check that out. I like to switch
I
my
don't-
reading it.
It wasn't that much of a thriller, but like I don't read scary things, so I guess it depends who you ask.
Well, a thriller in what way? Like more of like a psychological thriller or
I guess it was a little like violent in the sense. There was some killing, yes.
well,
But I don't know if you want to call that a thriller or what, but
The amount of etching you're doing now.
I know I'm going a little nutsy, huh?
Do we have enough to do something of that nature? That amount?
You might stick to because even though I've been dipping a few times, I really haven't used all that much. I gave you all what two things full. It really doesn't take that much etching cream, so there's a good chance you do. There's a really good chance. I would say to do this, it's probably definitely less than one of those pots of etching cream, or maybe about a pot of the etching cream. So if I could guess, that's what I would say. And once you kind of have it all on there and you've worked it all in a bunch, you just kind of let it sit for a minute or two. The front of mine is probably done, but I'm gonna give it let the back sit for a couple minutes. Let that have a chance to do its thing. And I'm gonna take cover up my cream here. Take my water bin. Which I accidentally spilled some of it on my way up here. Oops. I had to call a custodian to mop it up. I felt bad. Rinse my brush off. Oh, actually,
Jamie, I have a question.
sure.
Are the paintbrushes, can they be used for anything else after this or just keep them for etching cream stuff?
No, if you just wash it out, it's good to use for, whatever other crafting stuff. Just make sure you give it a good wash. I completely forgot to do my little lid here. I'm just gonna do a little bit around my heart. I don't know if anyone else has tuned into the, I'm actually, I think 2 episodes behind now, or maybe tonight there's another episode. I didn't watch the most recent episode that like has everyone talking, but I've been watching and just like that, the new Sex in the City, like reboot or whatever you want to call it. So I know there's a big controversy of some kind over some stuff having to do with Miranda and Steve, which I'm not surprised by, but I don't know if anyone's a fan of Sex in the City.
I used to like watching it when it was on originally, and yes, I've been watching it also.
Yeah, it's not.
It's nice.
Yeah, no, it's not as good as it. Actually made me go back and start rewatching some of the original, and I'm just like, oh, it's so good, and I miss Samantha.
I know, right?
It's not the same dynamic without her.
No.
But yeah, I'm watching it, seeing where it goes. I'll probably keep watching it.
She's now on How I Met Your Father. There's a show now
Yes. Ocaria was telling me that yesterday.
on that. So
Yeah, she's the Hillary Duff's older voice. Or she said they're showing her too, like originally How I Met Your Mother. They never showed like the older father, but they're actually showing her. Yeah, I haven't tuned into that yet. Not sure if I will. Haven't decided yet.
that's cute.
Yeah, I like it. Hillary Duff was like one of my little like preteen icons back in the day. I loved her. I loved Hilary Duff. I had her CDs and oh gosh. I used to try to like do my hair like Lizzie McGuire. I was all about it. Loved her. Really, as far as being a preteen and a teen, not bad for a role model compared to some of the other ones. Everyone else my age like loved Paris Hilton, and I was like, I like Hilary Duff. Total opposite. All right. Pencil brush again. Now that I'm done with that. Once you feel like your etching cream has had like at least 3 to 5 minutes to sit, you can go ahead and you can bring it to a sink. Obviously, if you do it in your kitchen sink, just make sure there's no like dishes or anything in there. You know, the stuff is pretty toxic, so just be careful with it. And you can just rinse it off. You just go ahead and run it under the water and rinse it off, and it'll look like your design is going to disappear for a minute, but once the jar dries again, you'll see the design. When it's wet, the design kind of disappears. Let's see. I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. I'm not sure if this side is totally ready yet, but you know what? It's just a jar. So in I go. I'm just gonna dunk it in my water with my gloved hands and just rub it all off. And at this point, you can also peel the sticker off. So I like to go in a little bit first and then start to get rid of my sticker here. Peeling the sticker off might be a little annoying, but and if you need help with peeling off all these little pieces, you can always, you know, grab the handy old tweezer and, you know, when you get it out of the water, just peel off the little bits with a tweezer. Ah, stickers. I'm actually going to take one of my gloves off. Life's a little bit easier. Poor nails. This weather is just killing my poor little nails. They were so healthy looking a few weeks ago. Now they're just so brittle. It's hard. My fingers are slipping because it's so wet. Okay, there we go. Oh, I think it actually worked pretty well. That's cute. Oh, I'm clever. Back to those other stickers in a minute. think my lid should be good to go. All right, so yeah, you can see when it's wet, it's a little hard to see if there's really a design on there. Once it dries, starts to dry off, you see that etching start to pop up. And there it is. Let's see how my jar came out. Moment of truth. And again, if there are any spaces that after you look at this and you're like, it didn't really, you know, fog it up as much as I want, you can just go back in gently, as long as the space isn't too small. Or if you have any like really tiny paint brushes and you want to do it, you can always go back in there if you have more etching cream and just fog it up a little bit more, give it another couple minutes to sit, 3 to 5 minutes to sit, and then rinse it off. And yeah, we have Valentine candy. Looks cute. Yeah. And this little peekaboo window, I think I might go back and just etch over a little bit of it again. But you know what, maybe it's a look. Maybe it's like a distressed look. I don't know. Looks cute though. Yeah, not too shabby. Did anyone else finish rinsing off theirs? How did yours come out? And if anyone, when they're done with theirs, wants to give us a little peek on your camera, you can feel free to do that too. Yeah. Nice. I think I'm going to give one of these jars to one of my coworkers downstairs. She always keeps a little container full of candy on her desk for everyone, which is nice. I don't know how much she spends on candy every week because that thing empties out pretty quickly, but maybe she'll enjoy a nice little fancy jar for Valentine's Day on her desk. Put the candy in there. That would be nice. Yeah, I think I might want to etch a little bit more on this side, but overall, pretty cute. So for everyone who is tuning into this recording, I'm going to stop the recording at this time. If you have any questions, you can email them to me. Everyone who's hanging out in the live Zoom room right now, feel free to hang out a little longer, and I'm going to stick around if you have any other questions or just want to show off how your jar came out. So thanks to everyone who picked up the kits and is watching this recording, and I hope that you love how your little jar came out. I'm pretty pleased with mine. Happy Valentine's Day. Stay safe in the weather tonight and tomorrow with the storm coming. And if you're watching this, maybe you're doing it while the snow is falling outside and you're avoiding cleaning off your car. So good for you. All right.